Ignore. There we go. I think we should be good now. We should be good. Okay. I apologize for that. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Fourth and Long podcast with Alec Pecano. Today I'm going to give you my college football upset picks, my picks against the spread, and some over-under picks. Let's get started here with my first upset. My first upset this week is Colorado plus 7.5 to upset Nebraska. And I know I talked about this game with my co-host on the podcast last night, but I'm going to talk about it again here because I do think Nebraska wins, but I do think there's a way Colorado can pull the upset, and if they make very, very few mistakes and don't turn the ball over a lot. That is my first upset. My second one, and is Boise State plus 19 to upset Oregon. I think this one can also happen. Oregon looked anemic against Idaho, and you would have thought that Oregon would have beat the brakes off of Idaho, but they didn't. They only beat them 24-14. And my last upset is Iowa State plus 2.5 to upset Iowa. This is another game I talked about with my co-host the other night. Rivalry game, all the sense in the world for Iowa State to pull the upset here. Now we get to my picks against the spread. My first pick against the spread is South Florida plus 31 to cover the spread against Alabama. Now, my heart of hearts says that South Florida is going to win, but I think Alabama is probably going to win. But South Florida is going to keep it within a reasonable distance, and South Florida might win. You never know. Anything crazier things have happened. My second pick against the spread is UTSA plus 1 to cover against Texas State. This is going to be a really good game, I think. And I think Texas State wins. Now, by how much? I don't know, because the spread is 1 point right now. And Texas State is favored by, last time I looked, there's one. My last cover pick is Marshall, and I'm going to be at this game, the Marshall-Virginia Tech game. Marshall plus 19.5 to cover the point spread against Virginia Tech. And I will go into a little more explaining of what is going on Saturday afternoon when I'm at the game. But I think Marshall's going to cover the point spread here. And then my over-under picks. My first over-under pick is Baylor versus Utah. The total is 53.5. I like the over. I think both teams are going to score a lot of points. And there's going to be very few. I think defense is going to be very optional. My second over-under is Texas Tech and Washington. And the total is 65.5. And I like the over. And I think they go over that spread, over the total. And my last over-under pick is South Carolina and Kentucky. This was on my upset picks list the other night with my co-host. But now I have the total, and the total is 49.5. 42.5, correction. And I like the under. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. And that wraps up that. But now we get to why everybody probably tuned into the video. Saturday, if you haven't heard, I will be, obviously, I will be at the Virginia Tech Marshall game. But I have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I will be sitting in the press box for the Virginia Tech Marshall game. And you will most likely be getting a video during the Virginia Tech Marshall football game of me in the press box answering questions during the game, probably giving you a little play-by-play, and taking you around a day in the life of what it looks like to be in the press box for a college football game. And also, and I'm going to mention this on the other podcast I have for Fourth and Long tonight, Friday is the fan meetup for the Fourth and Long podcast outside of Lane Stadium from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Don't miss out. If you're a student at Virginia Tech or if you're in town for the football game, come and stop by and say hi. But that's going to wrap up this episode of the Fourth and Long podcast. I will see y'all back here in a few hours with a couple more videos.